Hey guys, we're going live. We should be live. Somebody give me a thumbs up. Good. Awesome. I'm back. And I'm still on Facebook. Honey, that's on your computer. Can you mute your computer?
I'm muted. I can hear you.
Okay. Turn it down. All right. Then I'll just get the call started. Welcome, everyone. Thursday night Shredders Unite Biz call. I am sorry for my technical failures, but I think we've got started. I have the disclaimer posted. Mimi, you're on.
I am on. You want me
Okay,
to? Do you
awesome.
want me to let people in?
Yes, I'm going to make you co-host. So one
Thank you.
second.
All right, I'm going to go off screen. I'm in the kitchen, but I'm
Okay.
here.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help. So awesome, guys. Today is what it is. According to my watch, it's December 9th. We're getting close to Christmas, getting close to the holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Christmas, everyone. It is the busy time of the year. So rather than getting into details and into the mud maybe and interviews, just all kidding aside, my thought was this. I've got 2 weeks. Actually, I've got 21 days. Actually, in December, I guess I've got 22 days to plan for 2022. And I wanted to see who got on tonight. I see I've got Don and Ricky and Ashley. We've got Crystal or Sean, Kathleen. For those that are watching on Facebook, what I thought we could do tonight is simply focus in on the specific issues that we're having. That is the audience. This is our ER Shred community. What are the specific issues that you may be having or questions regarding your business as it relates to 2022? And we can make this fun-filled, interactive. We can make it very significant. And I'm asked my wife, Allison, my wonderful wife, to join me at the last minute, mainly because I feel, and Sean says this a lot too about Crystal, I think she's better at this than I am. I also think she brings a woman's perspective, and she's accustomed to coaching her woman entrepreneurs specifically on this, how to run a business, how to be an entrepreneur, how to get your messaging correct, how to be authentic. Also, from the standpoint of, and we can get into these areas, which some people I like to call witchy or woo-woo, and that is, how do you manifest? How do you visualize? How do you actually achieve what you're looking to achieve? It just doesn't happen overnight. It isn't something like you hang your shingle out and say, come here, Facebook, I can help you with losing weight, or doing, even, it doesn't matter what tool you're using, even if it's Now Site. You just can't just depend upon that and expect people to say, oh my God, that's a great promotion. Click here now and buy, and they come in. What I want you guys to think about, and women, of course, when I say guys, that's a Midwestern term. I want you to think about who are the people that you want to be associated with as it relates to being in your business. And you can leverage and utilize what's going on in ER Shred in the community. And I hope by now, especially many of you have seen an awful lot over the course of the last year. Some of you have only been in for 6 months, 3 months, 2 months, but everybody who's on this call is interested in sharing. We call it sharing is caring. And simply, we have the same theme that runs throughout, from the product experience to sharing the business, as well as in terms of building. How do we leverage? How do we utilize the community? How do we use the tools? I've made a big thing in Apple, and my wife has pointed out, she goes, not everybody knows Apple, Bob, and not everybody loves Apple. Not everybody remembers Steve Jobs. I know you haven't, but you pointed it out in that, and Sean has too. He was like, Sean tells me he doesn't even like Apple, but that's okay. But when I say this, I'm doing it through my lens. So this is, again, personal development stuff. It's my experience. It's my business mind, maybe, as it relates to what differentiates and what makes companies tick, what makes them unique, what makes the ones that are successful versus those that are not. I often speak of Simon Sinek. He literally built his career focusing on how Apple did it. And simply in terms of comparison with ER Shred, what do we have in common? Well, Apple was considered the little guy. They were considered, they weren't the biggest, best, the most fastest on the street. That was Microsoft and Intel's relationship. We have the biggest, fastest computers. And by the way, last year we gave you 100 ways of using Microsoft Word. This year we're going to give you 200 more, and it's so damn complex. We're going to send you a manual, and there's going to be teaching programs and so forth. Apple's whole focus was, we want to make utilizing computers fun and easy. We want to create a user experience. They focused on the individual, and they focused on the individual needs. When I look at ER Shred, we're talking about basically making a difference in people. We're providing a solution that hopefully meets their specific needs. It goes way, way beyond weight loss. It is obviously how we show up, how we feel. And as you've seen these testimonials over the past year or watching the videos, you realize it's so much deeper than just the weight loss. We make a big deal about the non-scale victories. And we also talk about the mental aspect. How many of us have come alive? Well, that sense or feeling of coming alive isn't the weight loss coming alive. It's literally our mindset. We come alive. We're energetic. We're happier. We're excited. This gets into vibrational energies. And this is what we talk about in the community in terms of what makes us attractive. When you are low energy, when you are struggling with life, when you are supposedly just feeling stuck, in those situations, we would say your energy is low vibrating. And basically, you've heard of the term like attracts like, the law of attraction. Well, you're going to attract people who are also low vibrating. That's why when people tend to be having challenges or in victim modes for some people, they tend to attract other people who are in a similar situation, and they can literally get along really well because everybody feels bad and everybody is a victim and everybody is going to focus on issues that are negative. In the case of ER Shred, we talk about uplifting. There's Teddy Shredder, my little cat Tasmanian devil with Allison. You can hear him in the background. We'll try to keep him quiet. ER Shred is we're about abundance. We're about love. We're about uplifting. We're about literally contributing and supporting each other so that we can have the best single experience as it relates to our protocol. I like to say ER Shred is a community. It's a community of like-minded individuals who aspire to live a better, healthier life. We do this by using our protocol, the ER Shred. In other words, ER Shred isn't the shakes. It's not the elimination diet. It isn't the detox aspect. ER Shred's bigger than that. ER Shred is the community. It is the energy that we give off collectively, but also once we've had this come alive moment, we feel so good energetically. People go, holy cow, Don, you look amazing. What have you done differently? I mean, people ask, they will ask you, and I know people are already asking you. So that sets the table for tonight. I wanted to do a mastermind format for those that are willing to participate. If you don't, the bad news is that you get to hear me drone on, and maybe I get to ask Allison some questions, and we'll talk about topics. But I think where it would be most beneficial is either on the chat or raise your hand and you can come on live. I'd love to hear what your challenges are, what your goals may be for next year, but how can we help you work with your messaging? How can we help you work with your story, like sharing your story? How's it best to share your story? What aspects of the business are you having challenges where we can help you? Someone just raised their hand. Was that Mimi?
Yes, that's me.
Okay,
I'm heading
Mimi,
outside. Hi.
you're on.
Okay, so I am going. My plan is to go grassroots, the way Colin did when he and his buddy went out. But here's what happened to me. Basically, I started following what was recommended for me to do by the person who signed me, and it was, it just was so fake for me. Let me go near the light. It was so fake for me. Reach out to people who's having birthdays. Tell them how pretty they are. You know, that it just wasn't genuine. And also reach out to all the people who you know and love, you know, friends and family. So I alienated so many people. What I really have figured out now is that not only am I able to have a genuine conversation with someone just casually passing by on a bike, but I want to go out. Like today, I was in the grocery store and I just mentioned to a young guy. I seem to want to talk to the people, my kids' generation, to ask them how their parents are doing. Hey, if you have anyone in your family who could really use some help with their health right now, you need to look this up. So I am going to get some stuff printed. I did my business cards for Mimi the Clown. I didn't wait for typesetting. I set them up myself. So with this new website that I have, here's what I want to know. If I roll through, say, the like Colin did, Colin used to go and put flyers on cars at, I won't do it here yet, outside Weight Watchers and people's cars, but at gyms. There's an LA Fitness nearby. When I go by there on my way to the beach on the weekends, I see every single body type in every single age group, and they're going in early. So I know these are the people who are in the process of changing what's going on in their life or their physical bodies, or they're trying to get healthy. So what do you think about flyers, passing out flyers in someone's hand, or putting a half-page flyer on a card like Colin used to do? It's old school, but I'm old school.
I'll answer it and I'll have Allison answer.
Okay.
We're in the same room. We'll talk over each other, but
Cool.
I think flyers serve a purpose. I think it can help bring awareness. That said, it is going to be a low return in terms of how many flyers you have to hand out to get someone to say yes.
Right.
What I would like for you, and there is no right or wrong answer. First of all, that's a great question. What I want to say is that there is no right or wrong. There just is. There are some things that we can do with our time that will give us the best advantage, maybe give us the biggest return for our time investment. There will be others that are going to be like just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, I see that.
If you hand out
it's my
flyers,
intention to hand it to someone with 2 or 3 lines said to them, ask them a question. Hey, I see you're up as early as I am. I'm cycling and you're working out, you know, and then and my name is Mimi. This is what happened to me. If you're interested in looking at this 11-day protocol, that'll totally change your life. And then hand them the paper. But do I do that with an invite? www.ershredders.com if I'm speaking to someone?
And I'm going to hand it over to Allison, but there is a lot of you were reading. What was the book that I just, maybe you read the book, you bought the book.
The 7 questions.
You bought the book, John Maxwell, Intentional Living.
Oh, yes, I do. It's next to me.
In that book, he writes about how he came up with a vision statement, a message, and a card. And he said he didn't hand it out in mass, but when he saw somebody who had all the qualities with someone who he wanted on his board of directors, he handed him a card. And it basically said something, and you can read the book. It's in the book.
Oh, I'll go back to my notes. I think you sent me the chapter for that. It's like chapter 7.
Yeah, I don't want to go off the top of my head, but it's like chapter 9, chapter 8, something like that.
Yeah.
But you will find his wording. But when you hand someone a note with a special message, and then you have in your body, your language, it's heartfelt, it's authentic, and you say, you remind me of me, and I think, you know, that I would love for you to take a look at this. You may or may not be interested, but if you are, I would love for you to join me in my cause. Okay.
All right.
And that would be, maybe it's just an invitation to the community of ER Shred. But I mean, I want you to, what everybody needs to do with this, it's not something that you just quickly write out and just decide I'm going to throw it out there and see what sticks. Put a lot of thought and time into it. Read that chapter or read the book with John Maxwell. because I think it's a wonderful idea and it's something that I have thought about doing. The only thing that I would say about flyers is that they happen all the time. That what do most people do when they see a flyer, if it came in the mail, if it was on their car?
Throw them in the trash.
Exactly. And it basically adds to
Line the
trash.
bird cage.
But if you can do it with a message, as you said, and start a dialogue with somebody, this is all
Yes.
about conversation,
Yeah.
then it's key. And for some people, handing them something, it's a crutch in some respects, but at the same time, it gives you the opportunity to engage them in conversation. So there's nothing wrong with it. Again, this book, I would highly recommend people take a look at it, Intentional Living,
I have that.
because it
Yeah,
has it in a very easy, common sense manner. He lays out what he did and how it would relate to your business today. And it would fit well with what you were asking.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I'm thinking more along the, go ahead, Allison. I would love to hear.
I don't know if you can see me or not.
Oh, you
I
can.
don't have my glasses on, but I can't see you.
So I'm like sitting in the dark.
Your
So
vision.
I don't know if anyone can actually see me.
They should be able to see. I don't know why it's stuck in speaker view, but yeah.
No, I just mean because I don't know
Okay.
where the light is. Okay. Yeah, I mean, a couple schools of thought. I mean, you can definitely hand out a bunch of flyers. It's cheap enough. And it's just sort of like throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. Like Bob was saying, I mean, it doesn't cost a lot. I mean, other than your time to do something like that. And you may get, somebody who looks at it and goes to the website and kind of falls
Right.
down a rabbit hole just out of curiosity. I don't know that it's a super high converting tactic, but
Okay.
it's something you can certainly do. I think that people are really craving connection. And
Yeah.
I think that they are wary about being, feeling like spammed or marketed to, because there's just so much of it, especially in the weight loss industry. So I think that
Yeah.
people kind of have their guards up. I think that if you're going to approach somebody at the gym, that's fine, but you want to find commonality with them and you want to build rapport and connection with them about something, other than Isagenix. Like, just strike up a conversation with them and then
Right.
listen to what it is that they're saying. Listen for, for cues of what they're saying. And if the cue happens and it's organic, then I think you can say, may or may not be for you, but I can totally relate to that, or
Right.
same way, or whatever. I don't, but I do think that people are going to trust you more if you first create that connection with them and you are talking to them, like a regular human being and not launching at them with your thing.
Right.
We have to be really mindful of that, because people have been burnt out by complete strangers reaching out to them. They don't know them, and then immediately launching into in their first, message, hey, buy my thing. Essentially, that's what they hear.
Yeah.
And again, and I'll apologize to the group tonight because I don't ever want to offend anyone. I know I'm pretty strong in my opinion sometimes as it relates to marketing. I know there's no right or wrong way. And I know that if you do enough of the same thing over and over and over again, you're going to have success. My frustration is that I think we have a unique group within ER Shred. And I want you to think about what attracted you to the group and what were the characteristics and qualities of ER Shred. What did it mean to you and why did you start? And likewise, those same reasons why you probably came to the group are the things that people who are looking for ER Shred are looking for, the same reasoning, the same reasons you had. It's not magic. So when you turn around and say, oh, before and after pictures, and you throw it up on Facebook, or you put it up on, on social media, look at me, look at me. How does that, when it's a stranger, how does that make you feel? How does that connect with them authentically? Do they actually get to know you as a person? And the answer is obviously no. You're just throwing something at the wall, hoping that it sticks. and you're hoping that they click yes on you, but what they see is more of the same from everybody else. So
Yeah,
when I
because everybody says they have the answer. So,
Well,
well,
exactly.
what
Go
I'm
on.
thinking I'll start with is that probably 50, minimum of 50 people that I see throughout the week on that walking trail and over in Pompano Community Park. I've become a familiar face. I look like Bob the Builder with my orange, with my helmet, my my orange fluorescent jacket, and I speak to everybody. So I will start with them, and I want to hand them something. If I don't, it's the logo on my shirt and tell them to find me on ER Shred. But I'd like for them to at least be able to see, because people.
I don't think I would have like papers or cards or something.
No?
No,
Okay.
because I feel like that's very.
Just trade numbers or what?
I feel like it's very premeditated in a way.
Ah,
So, I mean, if
people-
anything, if you want to have some kind of a card that has like the QR code on it, that you would
That's what I
sort of
was-
say,
yeah.
you might say, you know what, I might have it. I might have something on me to give you versus, coming ready and
Yeah,
prepared.
you
with
show them,
your-
oh my gosh, I got one.
Not
card
like
left.
whipping it out. Here you
No,
go.
I've
This is
got
for
one
you.
card left, but they don't see the other 500 stuck in your back pocket,
You're right,
right? So you make it special for them.
Yeah.
The
The
other
other-
thing, Mimi, that I wanted to say to you, one of the qualities that what you've done is that you're so good with your Facebook Lives and people are watching you. The only thing that I can emphasize is that there are so many people that are watching that haven't yet communicated to you. So every now and then, and I'll ask Allison to talk about this, make a suggestion that if you have an interest in what I'm doing, or if you're looking to make a change in the next year, please send me a private message. And I'd be happy to direct you to what I have found or what has worked for me.
Okay.
And you make a subtle thing like that. Or as
Yeah,
Allison said,
Tracy will post something about me. My sister will post on her page something about me, and she will get so many responses and asking her. But when it comes down to them contacting me or going forward past there, it doesn't happen.
well, they
Well,
may or
if
may
they're-
not.
Well, if
but
they're
that's-
interested, can you reach out to them?
So that was another thing. Allison taught me this. So if you see
Then I
something
feel like
that-
I'm prospecting again, and I just
Well,
can't.
but this is permission-based sharing. If somebody's raising their hand and saying, yes, I'm interested, they've now given you permission to help them. And
Yeah.
by you saying, oh, I don't want to be prospecting, you're making it about sales. And this isn't
Right.
about sales. This is about
That's what it,
service.
that's, yeah.
Remember,
The-
you're
the
sharing,
people-
you got a gift, and you're sharing a gift with them. It's special. You don't want to share it with everybody. We want like-minded individuals in our ER Shred community that we know will be productive members of the community, not people who are going to tear us down, right?
Right,
So you got to
exactly.
be selective with who you choose. But here's what I do know is that if you do ask that question, this may or may not be for you. That's permission-based marketing. What we mean by that, and when you say it in that manner, is that you're not telling the person me, or you have to buy. You're like, well,
Right,
you may or may not be interested in this. I thought of you because, or I see you in the neighborhood all the time, and you remind me of someone. Whatever, you strike up a conversation, and you do this
Right.
naturally. And then
Okay.
it's your opportunity then to share that vision statement in chapter 9. Go to the book, chapter 9, and come up with a nice mission statement. What do you stand for?
okay.
What is your vision? What are you looking to achieve? I mean, you eloquently, you say it naturally on Facebook and a lot of your lives. What are you looking for? What do you stand for? Invite people to buy into your vision and your mission. And you can put that on a card the way John Maxwell suggested. And I think that will
Okay.
attract the right people. But it doesn't take many. You just got to start with a handful, get them a great result, and then you want to support them in referring people to you, or if they want to share for themselves, that's great too.
Okay. Hey, I want to hear what Don has to say, because Don made a comment earlier. I couldn't read the whole thing. Something about the belly, because you were being, I'm interested in knowing what you do, Don, because you brought a bunch of people in.
Can you unmute, Don? There you go. Oops.
You're muted.
How about now?
Good. Oh, you're back on. Do it one more time. Now you're there.
Okay, there we go. So yeah, so thanks for the comment, Mimi. And my comment about the removal of the belly is Bob had asked about what brought you into the ER Shred group. And Bob and I were college fraternity brothers, and I saw a post of his talking about eating meat, and he was looking great. And I thought, wow, so that's, that's how I got started. I did my first shred, the Monday after Thanksgiving a year ago. And I've been in Isagenix. It'll be 7 years in April. And, I lost 40 pounds doing that, but I always had that last 10 that I couldn't get rid of. And, I've been able to do that with the ER Shred. But what I like about ER Shred is this is so much easier than the traditional Isagenix program. And, cleanse days are a piece of cake, cleanse for life and bone broth. You can't get any easier than that. And, so what I've done is a lot of people, I'll talk to them, and they'll see some of my posts on Facebook, and they'll say, hey, what are you doing? Or I'm one of those guys who sends a birthday video to everybody who has a birthday. I'll send them a message and say, hey, happy birthday, hope you're doing well. And I don't even mention Isagenix or business or ER Shred. I just hope you're doing well. And some people will respond. If they respond, then I get a conversation going back and forth, like Allison was talking about. So it's not a hey, you're ready to buy kind of thing. It's, you get a back and forth going. And then, when the timing's right, you can say, hey, I happen to have I don't know if you've noticed, but I've lost a significant amount of weight, and I'm also making some money on the side. And as I guess Mimi, like you, my age category is like 60 and up, 50s and up. People are getting ready to retire. And I like to point out, hey, here's a residual income that you can make to help, augment Social Security and help you make your Medicare premium payments and things like that. I mean, just getting that out in conversation. So I don't know if I've answered your question, Mimi, but
Yeah, with the birthday video, that's totally me. Even for
Yeah.
people I don't know, I'll just pop on and sing happy birthday for no reason at all, or make up a song. So yeah, that's a really good idea. So because I'm not doing anything much with social media on my personal page anymore. I just don't anymore.
Ask, why did you stop, Mimi?
Well, it's partially because of where I live. Because I was being things how I used to post, the vein in which I used to post was all very spiritual and nothing to do with anything but God. And so now, until I leave here, I really don't want to go in and just be who I really am. I'm already protecting what I post now as it is, and I'm blocking a lot, but I can't like unfriend and block. So I have to say, I have to post friends except. So I'm just trying to be careful so that I don't have a more difficult time in my daily living. If that makes sense. Yeah. And I'll go back to being open and honest, but right now I'm protecting everything that I put on that's public.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to go back, but if you have a thought about this, I kind of wanted to go back and talk about what Mimi was saying earlier about like feeling like she didn't want to prospect. And I just wanted to give an analogy
Okay.
I thought might be helpful to everybody.
Oh, that's why I have you here.
So when you think about, people raising their hand and saying like, yes, I'm interested. I like to kind of think of, the group almost like as my world, as like my storefront. Like if I had a physical store and I was selling physical items and somebody came in willingly to my store because they were interested in it, right? I wouldn't just like not give them information because I wouldn't be thinking, well, I don't want to sell them anything. I'd be like, welcome in, come on in. How can I help you? Like, what are you looking for? Tell me you're looking for a gift. Tell me a little bit about it. Tell me a little bit about your price range, the person you're buying for, whatever. Like it's like you're kind of taking them to the side and you're getting a little bit more information, but from a place of you're trying to help them, you're trying to serve them. So when somebody is asking for more information, it's like them walking into the storefront and then you just ignoring them. You would never do that. You know what I mean? The difference of what you're talking about is you don't want to be that crazy person outside of the storefront in the mall waving them down, or you don't want to be at the kiosk like, you know, forcing like one of those hand lotion things on them or those sea salt scrubs on them. Like that would be, you know, against their will. That would be like it's an invasion of their privacy, right? You don't want to be one of those people. But if you have a sign on your storefront that says like, you know, we can help you find the, you know, local artists, you know, pieces or whatever, and they're interested, and then they on their own willingly walk into your store, that's the equivalent of someone saying, yeah, I'd like to learn more about that, or that sounds interesting, or tell me more about that. And then what you do with that matters. So then if you ghost them and you ignore them, then they're going to go to the store next door because they're still looking for the thing. They're just going to go to somebody else's store. And that's kind of how I think of it.
You know, and the other thing that I wanted to add to that is that this business that we're in is network marketing. It's relationship marketing. And I mean, I guess this of all of you, I mean, think about it. How long does it take to create a relationship with somebody? Does it happen on the first conversation? Or does it happen on the second conversation? It usually takes some time. And everybody's unique and different. And even when everybody said, yes, I want to lose weight. Yes, I want more energy. Yes, I want to look like Don Drury. Yes, I want to feel better, whatever it might be, right? They still will pause and they will wait. And some people wait 6 months. I know Ricky mentioned the other day that he was in the community for 6 months before he even started. And I was similar. I didn't say, even though philosophically and talking with Sean, and yeah, this sounds great. When he said it was all red meat, I went, time out. I have to think about this. I got freaked out for about 2 weeks. And of course I used the excuse that our group, we had an original cleanse, that we were doing the 1st of October with our team. I was going to let Sean and Randy and Tony Escobar go first, and that whole group. And then Sean was kind enough to send me a documentary, and that documentary led me to 3 books. But that's the stuff that I needed for myself in order to say yes. It wasn't anything that Sean could have done. It's nothing that could have gotten me to start sooner. Maybe as Don pointed out, it was a situation where I said something. He was connected with me on Facebook as my fraternity brother, and he watched me. But I don't think he started like immediately after I did. He probably watched me for a while, is my guess. So again, it's relationship marketing. And understand, the first conversation is the beginning of the dance. It's like asking somebody out on a date. Well, that's just the very first step. Then you got to have the date, you got to have the event, and you start the dance. And that's really what this is all about. I think sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves to get that person to say yes immediately or to join me next week. And what I want people to understand is that, like even with Sean, he will talk about people who have been watching him for years and finally just say, you know what, I think, Sean, I'd like to do this, right? So it's staying in engagement with people, it's staying in communication, and it's the willingness to put yourself out there. I know this isn't easy, but the goal is that make it a goal to speak to X number of people over a course of a week. I mean, this is what I'm going to ask Allison now on, and that is, it's 2022. I want to build my business, but honey, can I get there if I just have the concept that I want to build my business without having some specific rational goals laid out in terms of how am I going to achieve that? I mean, how do you answer that within your group?
Uh,
Can I just say I'm going to be successful next year
No.
with ER Shred?
no, I mean,
So how important is goal
I
planning?
mean, you have to have the vision. You have to have the bigger vision of why it is that you're even doing this. Because without that, and without really knowing that, what's going to get you up and out of bed in the morning? What's going to drive you to actually do the action, to do the work? So there's that piece. And I'm a big believer of having sort of that overarching bigger vision of, well, I want to impact more people and I want to, free people financially and all that good stuff that we talk about. But I'm also a really, really big fan of breaking that down and personalizing it. What is your personal goal in the next 90 days? And why is that goal meaningful for you? Right? Like for me, it's about, I want to be able to generate additional income for my family because there's going to be a lot of traveling happening so that I can support my daughter in the college process. Like for me, that's a really big why for me right now. And so I have to keep my eye on that price. So you have to first obviously get in touch with, why is it that you're doing and how are you going to celebrate your successes as well? I think that's really important too, to give yourself that incentive. And then you have to work backwards about, okay, what is it that I need to do in the day to day in order to actually make that happen? And setting goals for yourself that are, big enough that they stretch you out of your comfort zone, but not so giant that they're going to feel overwhelming to you. And you're going to feel so far from them that you don't actually take those actions. So like, what can you commit to doing? What are the actions that you can take that you can commit to doing that you're going to feel really good about being able to cross off your list? That's sort of a start. Is that what you were asking?
No, I'm asking that. And I'm going to go, I always joke with Allison because we start off, you got to have the foundation. You got to have the beginning piece, right? And then you can build from that. She made two comments in one. One is starting with your why, which is another book, by the way, Simon Sinek wrote, Start With Your Why. If you haven't read that book or go to YouTube, just type in Start With Your Why, Simon Sinek, and you can watch a video on it. That's kind of the short way to read the book, but this is crucial. Why are we doing this? Why am I doing this? What do I want to achieve? What do I want out of this? The second part of it is that this is really how, when we talk about manifesting, getting what you desire, it's writing out your goals. What do you want? But as Sean likes to say, there's a lot of it's all about the feelers. It's all about the feeling. And it's similar in that Allison just said it. Here's what I would like to achieve, but then pause and think, okay, how am I going to feel when I achieve that? What's going to change in my life? How am I going to feel? Am I going to be happier? Is it? I'm going to, go ahead.
I mean, we could definitely go deep in this.
Well,
I don't know how
but-
deep you want to go.
but I want to go
can
deep
Pull
in-
out the big guns if
Well, you
want
can,
to.
but I want you to, because we might as well talk about it because this is key. This is more important than simply writing out your goals and writing out the how-tos and then literally saying, okay, if I check, I'll have success. The answer to that is yes and no.
Yes and
You'll
no.
have some success, but will you have the potential that you could have had if you connected emotion with that subject matter? And
Okay.
if you can tie those two together, that's where the magic happens. And I'm handing it off to
Well,
you.
no, I mean, you have to have, so the results that you have in your life right now, what your life looks like for better or worse in your business, right, are basically the combination of the thoughts that you're thinking, right? The beliefs that you have and the thoughts that you're thinking, the energetic state that you choose to show up in every day, and the actions that you're taking. So the actions that you're taking in the strategy is kind of what I talked about, where, you do have a plan of the things that that you need to do to build your business. It's the energy though piece, okay, the energy in which you're implementing those actions that are going to catapult those actions and really 10x them up, power them up. And what does that mean? We're everything that we see is a mirror of our energetic state and our beliefs and our belief about what is possible. So when you're thinking about your vision, you're only going to achieve what you believe is actually possible for yourself, which is really tough sometimes, because if you've never hit a certain level, if you've never hit a certain income amount, or you've never, whatever that goal is that you're going for, if you've never actually experienced it, then you have to just sort of go on faith, or you have to go on examples that you see of other people in the company who have done it, right? To sort of build that belief. And so, your results are a reflection of what is going on internally. And that really starts with your beliefs. And so if we talk about vibrational energy, which I know we've talked about a lot, like attracts like, your emotional state. If I'm primarily living in a state of gratitude, for instance, then I'm going to attract people and experiences to me that match that inner state, that give me more things to be grateful for. And so a lot of times when we think about our goals, we think about them as being in the future. But if we work in the quantum field, which is basically our energy broken down into its smallest particles, right? Science has now proven that at the quantum level, all realities are possible, infinite, and time does not exist. And what does that mean? That means that future, what we think of it as the future, but that future version of yourself who already has what it is that she wants or what it is that he wants exists. And there is a path for that to happen. And your job is to get your belief behind the possibility, and then to tune your energy and your frequency to that version of yourself who already has the confidence. So how would that person who already has whatever she or he has achieved show up right now? How would they make decisions in their life? That future version that already has the things. And the more you can embody right now what it is that you want to achieve in the way that you think, in the actions that you take, in your habits every day, right? The more that you can do that, the more you're tuning your frequency to that vibration, and the faster you are going to manifest. It's like a quantum manifestation, where you can very quickly leap into what it is that you want in your life by choosing to show up as if you already have that, choosing to show up in that gratitude as if you already have it. Thank you so much, universe, God, for bringing me the people who need my services most right now. You wake up every day and you say thank you before it has actually happened. And watch what happens if you just do that very simple shift, and then you go about your day. You start to attract experiences to you, and you start to open up the path to what it is that you want by choosing to intentionally live in that state. Okay, so you do that, and you plan, okay, I'm going to do this many posts, I'm going to whatever, because we have to take the action, right? We can't just like sit back and wait for it all to come to us. But when you put those things together, when you're taking the action, and when who you are being, who you are showing up in life matches that vision of where it is that you're going, you start to become somebody new. You're starting to step into this new version of yourself, this new identity, who has what it is that she desires or he desires, and you start to change.
So the simple aspect of this is that it's just visualization techniques. But how do you visualize?
It's even more than that.
Well, it is more than that, but I want people to think about it in just pieces. So yes, everyone's heard of visualization. Tiger Woods is visualizing the putt going in the hole, or Michael Jordan playing basketball is visualizing hitting the winning shot. I mean, we've all heard of those terms. To give you a quick example, I had to do what I thought was necessary, and that is, I wasn't going to be reactive. I want to be proactive, but I'm thinking to myself, what can I do that could bring in more income for my family? What could I do that would also give me some leverage as it relates to Isagenix, Shred? Well, I got to put myself with like-minded people who want to be healthy and people are looking to improve themselves. I started dwelling on that thought. What can I do? What talents do I have? What could I possibly, bring into my world that would allow me to build my business, but at the same time, bring in some extra income? So while I'm walking the dogs, I get a text message from Allison, who just forwards it to me and said, "You're not going to believe this. Midtown Tennis, Bannockburn, where we live, we used to belong to this club, is looking for a part-time someone to sell memberships. And with that, you get a free membership for the family, which is like a $450 a month value." And I'm thinking, damn, I go, I could do that. And so I quickly responded and I attached like a 5-year-old resume that I had. And luckily enough, they called me. So now I'm selling memberships at Midtown Tennis. It's like a big facility. It's like a country club for tennis, but I'm meeting a lot of people. I'm out in the community. I'm with like-minded people looking to get healthy. But here's the fun part. So how do I prepare myself for work? Is I started doing exactly what Allison is talking about. And you've heard us say this. So I'd go to bed and I would do my gratitude journal, or I would also in my mind think about what am I grateful for in my life right now. And then I would bring up my vibration, because you start feeling good and you start feeling really happy and you feel that love. Then
That's the key there.
that's the key. You feel that
It's the
energy.
feeling.
It's the feeling.
It's not just the
right.
visualizing.
Well,
the
that's what
thought,
I'm,
but it's
that's
the
why I'm,
body.
that's,
Yeah.
that's why I'm putting two to two together. So then I visualize and I literally have that feeling in terms of why am I grateful? And then I take it to the next level and I think about the people who I'm going to be talking to tomorrow, the people who I have appointments to show the club to, and I start visualizing them having an amazing time at the club and loving it and how excited they are for joining and achieving their goals. And I focus all my energy on that. I fall asleep with that in my mindset. And then I wake up in the morning and I do a redo. Now, on the way to work, I put on my favorite music because I want to bring my vibration up. And I want to make sure I'm in what Tony Robbins would say is a peak state when I walk in the room. And my goal is this. I know last week we talked about Patrick Greenlaw.
And what happened? Tell them what happened.
Well, I walk in, I want to be like Patrick Greenlaw. When I walk into a room, I want the building to know that I walked in energetically. But it's only going to happen if I'm like at a peak state and I'm excited. Well, when I did this I just started, but I mean, I literally had to go off of these old leads that have been called over and over and over and over again. But anyway, that week I opened up 18 accounts and I didn't find out until the end of the month that nobody in the company had ever done that in 1 week, starting straight out the first month. And I know I would not have achieved that if I hadn't done this every night. It sounds silly. It sounds corny as all get out, or at least it used to me, but it's about attaching an emotional feeling with that goal. So I know we started out, and this is a long way around it. 2022 is critical. It's going to be important for all of us, right? We want to grow our community. We want to be successful in this business. It starts with starting, what is your why? If you need to start there and revisit that, Simon Sinek is a great place to start. No pun intended. Next thing is goal writing. What is it you look to achieve in the next 30 days, 90, 60 days, 90 days, or maybe even in the next year? And what I like to do is even take it a year out. Where do you want to be? And think about what that will be like, but then literally go backwards and figure out, okay, what do I need to do each month? What do I need to do each week? What do I need to achieve each day in order for me to hit that goal at year end? You got to chunk it down in little pieces. And again, gratitude, bring up your vibration, connect that with the feeling, but then also see people joining your team in our ER shred and having the success that people in our family are right now today. That's the beautiful thing. We've grown this community to almost 24,000 people. That's crazy. There's no reason why each and every one of us can have a team of 24,000 people. We still haven't scratched the surface. That's my point. So all we need to do is to get out there and communicate and share our story and make connections. And that starts the relationship building. But that's the goal for all of us. And everybody who's on this call, we want to be able to be successful. And I think these are the basic tenets to get you there. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think that's huge.
Is there anything in the group? I know Laura, you jumped on with us. Sean or Crystal's on, I think.
If anybody
But
has
Don,
to add or
anybody
questions
have, do you
or
want to add anything or do you have questions?
something you want to bounce off of?
I got little Teddy. No, you're gonna jump away now.
I just want to say great info. I listened on Facebook first and then I tried to get on Zoom and somehow I got the sound, but I couldn't see anything. So
Oh,
finally I
no.
got on the right way. But anyway, I'm happy I got on the call. Both Ally and Bob, you both covered things really well.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. And I mean, we'd love to hear what your goals are and what your plan is and what you're committing to in terms of, doing the daily mindset work or whatever it is that, helps you get into a state where you feel you're most powerful, you're most confident, what helps you to get into that place just for accountability.
Well, I always, when I do trainings, I plan to reach out to 5 people a day, but then I always get sidetracked. So I have a hard time being consistent and sticking to my plan. So I need to do the visualization more and actually write down my plan, engineer it backwards, like you said, and set a time and actually stick to it. I always get sidetracked.
And you also want to just make sure to do some of that that work around, why you're even doing this. What's your driving factor? What's motivating you to even want to do this? Because when you can get connected with that definitely is going to help you stick to taking those actions. That and also just taking a look at, is there something underneath why you're not taking those steps, why you're procrastinating? Is there something that you're afraid of, or what does that look like that might be kind of underneath the surface of why you're not taking those steps, so that we can look under the hood
Right.
and get to the root of what's actually preventing you.
The other thing that I just thought of here is that one of the things that's helping me out is, and it's taken me a lot of work, and that is just being a better listener and looking for cues. Some people will call them cues, or maybe it's a subtle hint where it allows you to naturally in conversation weave in ER shred or something that you've done recently with ER shred. And that's just listening. You'll hear that over and over again. It's having good listening skills, asking the right questions. At the end of the day, it's really easy. Everybody wants to have better sleep, more energy, and they want to lose weight. They want to look good, in their skinny jeans. It's interesting. We have that opportunity, and it's just a question of asking. One of the things, Mimi, and if you're listening still, I'm thinking of you as well. I did something that I thought I never would do, and I put myself out last year on Facebook a lot. I need to go back and do more of the same. I kind of got away from it. But that said, people just start calling me up saying, hey, Bob, I want to do your thing. Yeah, Don called me up after a few weeks. We're not financially connected, but it's cool that we got several fraternity brothers on board now. But what I think would be more valuable for my time is up close and personal, just sending out a private message and calling someone like Don and saying, hey, Don, I thought of you because I don't know if you realize I've been doing this, this, and this. We would love for you to join us. I mean, what do you think? Or may not be for you, but something similar. I'm trying to think out of the box, but I think it's going to require me to do a little bit more than just appearing on Facebook and putting my name out there and saying, contact me if you're interested. I mean, so far it's the Maytag repairman. No one's calling me. But if I call people, if I make a personal message and reach out to them, you may or may not be interested. I thought of you because type language. Then I get a response. People will respond to me. Maybe not for me, but then they know somebody who it might be good for. And that's just another thought that I'm just throwing out there. Right, Teddy?
I didn't think these to go out.
You guys, I've got a drop. Hopefully you can hear me. But I'm thinking, NYKO is, geez, 4 weeks away, and I'm hoping a bunch of us are going to be there. It seems like we ought to try to plan something, have the leaders in the group, maybe we meet for dinner one night, or, we get a group photo somewhere in the stair, I just want to throw that out there, because that's not far away, and I'm hoping people are going to go.
What I would do, Don, is put a post up and say who's maybe we'll pin it for you in the air shred. Who's planning on going to, New Year's kickoff?
Okay.
Sign here so you can create a group within a group, if you will, of people who will be attending it. I know that I unfortunately won't be making it this year. And Allison, we've got my oldest stepdaughter, who's a senior, is going to be
We're gonna
traveling.
be in New York
Yeah,
for auditions.
for auditions.
To be on TV. Yeah.
More auditions.
No, that's the other one.
Oh, that's
they're
the other
both-
one.
Well,
Oh,
they both
okay.
are. They both are.
Okay.
But yes, the college audition.
It's the
Alrighty.
college auditions, which is it
Oh.
sounds insane. You got to get
Cool.
accepted, but then you got to audition to see if you get accepted.
I
It's-
gotcha.
It's
All right. Well,
amazing.
I'll do that. I got to blow. So good seeing everybody.
Thank you for joining
and,
us.
take care.
Okay.
All righty. Well, we will be on, got a couple more calls for the rest of the year, but basically my thought process is that between now and year end, I think this should be our focus collectively, is to look within, do our own homework on ourselves in terms of what is it we're looking to achieve, what are the steps that I need to take to get there. It is important to start with your why. And if you go to New Year's kickoff training, they would always start with your why. What is your why? Why am I doing this? Their methodologies and way of marketing might be a little bit different and unique than what we're saying or suggesting. What I know we're saying in this group, specifically with Sean, is just what we've known that's worked best over 20 years. And that is, when you're doing a protocol, a system, which is a group of products, it does require a little bit of coaching, but we get that through our community. But it's more than just click here, buy now, twist and drink. And that's not our system. That's not going to work with ER Shred. It may work with the collagen, and it's totally fine, but that's a different product. And that requires different messaging and a different way of approaching it. So for those of you that are doing it the ER Shred way, my suggestion is we have to focus on the results, but we have to focus on the feeling, the emotion. And it's a big reminder. Thank you, Stacy, if you're going to be watching this later on last night, for sharing your story. Thank you for telling me that it was my crying moment that actually moved you to do this, or to take you didn't do it right away, but at least that got her into the group paying attention. And it's a good reminder, because I got emotional because I was getting frustrated because I couldn't put it into words how good I felt. I mean, I got really kind of stumped there for a second, but that's what we have to share. We've got something that's almost too good to be true. And it's one of these things that you can't possibly even begin to give it justice or explain it unless you experience it. So it's our job to figure out, how do we put it in words? How do we create the questions? How do we create the messages to make those connections, to bring people into the conversation? I mean, that's the question. Anyway, guys, anybody else have anything?
Thanks, guys.
Or well, without that, we're pretty much done.
Thank you very much.
Awesome,
Thanks,
Amy. Well, thank you for joining
guys.
us. Hopefully people will watch the recording. And if you do watch the recording, put down your thoughts in the comments. And I promise you, we will look at them and we will get back to people, but I need your input. I mean, it gets hard to do this every week just to come on and talk about business per se, even though we can come up with something to say every week. It makes it a lot more, for me, fulfilling if I know that I'm serving you and if you guys are getting value from it. And
Yeah, if you're
on-
watching the replay, let us know that you're watching the replay, and any suggestions on the types of things that you want to learn about and hear about, just so that we know that, it's reaching people and that you want
Yeah,
us to come and work with you. So
it's all good.
yeah,
But we love doing this. We want to grow the community, and simply, it doesn't take much, but imagine if everybody on this call, we had like 6 people, but if we all got 10 people in the next month, that's 60 people joining our group,
Right.
and so on and so on and so on.
Right.
It doesn't take a lot. It just takes a handful of quality people that come in that have connections, that know people. And Sean will speak to this. I mean, it isn't looking for, I got to sign up 100,000 people, or I need to sign up big time business builders. It isn't either one of those two things. It's about basically getting the people within your inner circle, having a great experience and allowing them to share with their inner circle, and it begins to build. And you start your little fire, which soon becomes a bigger fire. Ultimately, it becomes a big ass bonfire like a Yara shred.
I always get value from your calls, Bob.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
so much. And
You always
Ally,
have
too.
great guests and you and Ally both share
Yeah,
very
especially-
helpful
yeah,
information.
Absolutely.
Well, make us look good. Go build
Okay.
the businesses so we can blow up this community.
Hi, Mel.
Hi, good to see
I
you.
love your
Laura.
Facebook lives. You do.
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank
I'm
you.
still working on it. I'm still working on it. I did a Facebook live the other day.
You just gotta fly by the seat of your pants, Laura.
What?
Fly by the seat of your pants. Go out on the balcony and strike up a conversation with everybody.
Okay.
Do it when the sun is coming up. That you have amazing sunrises from up there.
Yep, I do.
Yeah. All right, Dan.
Ricky, you got anything to add?
Unmute.
No. Not at the moment. Honestly, you hit a lot of points that I was talking about with mindset and vibrational status. So
Yeah.
next week we do this again, I will have a lot to add.
Excellent. Awesome.
That's great.
We will plan
So
on that.
I'm kind of sitting here all teary-eyed right now because there's so much going on up in the mind. So
Oh,
The best thing you can do when
That's
when
awesome.
you're in these moments, which is you are in connection with yourself, right? Is to grab a piece of paper and for me, I have to get them on paper. I have to get them written down.
Yeah.
Or sometimes those thoughts they'll pass. They'll go on and I'll forget what that magic moment was all about. Oh, you got your journal.
it's pulled out.
Awesome.
yeah, I put it in the notes in my phone.
Good.
Thank you again, y'all.
All right, guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Good night.
Okay,
Bye.
good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.